Welcome to the second video in our series on how to automate infrastructure provisioning with Cloud Shell. In the previous video, I talked about how IT is overwhelmed with requests for access to infrastructure. This prevents users from accessing their environments in a timely manner, creating frustrations. Cloud Shell solves this problem by providing users with self-service access to predefined blueprints that are configured with all the components, permissions, orchestration logic necessary to reserve and access infrastructure. This sharply reduces time-consuming demands on IT. In this video, I'll demonstrate how Cloud Shell gives users the ability to log into a self-service portal and use its blueprint catalog to access infrastructure. The blueprint catalog sharply reduces the time needed to select, reserve, and spin up the infrastructure you need, from days or even weeks down to just minutes. We'll also talk about the ability for admins to implement a role-based access control policy, or RBAC, that restricts access as required. Once I log in, I'm brought to the Blueprints catalog. In a later video, I'll walk you through how to build blueprints, but for today, I'll give you an overview of how the self-service portal is set up and show you how to navigate through it. The intuitive interface provides two filtering options. The left allows me to filter through previously created sandboxes, along with a list of blueprints to those I have access to. And on the right, you can filter by categories. On the top right, there are help and profile menus as well as the domain selector. Admins can create private groups categorized by function or purpose. By default, Cloud Shell provides a global domain, but admins can create additional domains associated with organizational teams or according to geographically distributed sites and centers. RBAC controls user access to domains and blueprints as needed. This section is where blueprints are hosted. Blueprints are created and populated by blueprint designers, and their role is to determine what a user needs and builds the blueprint accordingly. More importantly, blueprint designers ensure all blueprints are built with the right security protocols and aligns with company policies. Users can be confident that accessing these environments will always be in compliance. As an example, let's say that I'm a tester that's been tasked to understand how data traffic flows through a hybrid network environment. Rather than making the infrastructure request through IT directly, I will instead use Cloud Shell to access the virtual infrastructure lab blueprint that IT has directed me to. One thing to note is that if I don't have access to this blueprint or someone else is using it, it would say view instead. This feature allows companies to manage resources more efficiently and to ensure there aren't any conflicts. I'll go ahead and click on the blueprint. This is the visual layout of the blueprint I'll be using. This setup allows me to control a virtual traffic generator, a virtual machine of varying hardware and software, as well as a physical device, in this case, a firewall. Cloud Shell does all the behind-the-scenes automation to connect these devices to each other, and has orchestrated the entire lab in a transparent fashion for what I need. Other things to quickly take note of: when I click on the Commands button, I see a list of sandbox level commands on the right, including the out-of-the-box setup and teardown commands, and any custom commands that apply to this blueprint, including commands that load data to generate the traffic. I can click on the instruction button to see notes from the blueprint designers, including additional context to help me use this blueprint. Now that I have the configuration I need, I am now ready to reserve it. There are also additional options available, like limiting usage duration. This ensures that resources are automatically brought down and made available for other users, which also saves on cost. Another cost savings measure is that Cloud Shell also deletes cloud instances when a task is complete. I'll go ahead and leave the settings the way they are at 2 hours and also the default name, but I could always change it later if I needed to. Finally, I click the Reserve button. Cloud Shell will now do all the back-end work to commit the resources for my use, including establishing connection requirements and updating the resource inventory. The time to completion will vary depending on the size of the environment, but Cloud Shell will notify me when the blueprint is ready in a few ways. One way is that I'll be notified by email once it's complete. I could also view this green bubble where it says Setup, that once it's ready, it'll change to active. And then you'll also see a pop-up window at the top notifying you as well. This is the screen that shows you that the blueprint is now ready for me to use, and I can go ahead and run the tests I need. This concludes our demo. I hope you enjoyed learning about how the self-service feature in Cloud Shell removes the bottleneck of requesting infrastructure through IT by empowering the user to get the environment they need on demand. We invite you to try Cloud Shell for free by going to www.qualys.com and clicking on the Start Trial button.